Jewish Americans on edge as college campuses become a hub of anti-Semitic protests, including Harvard, where Professor Alan Dershowitz, a Democrat, warns this hurts his party. In an op-ed, Dershowitz says, quote, the Democratic Party now faces a choice. The Hamas atrocities of October 7th have forever fractured any political alliance between centrist and liberal Jews and woke anti-Israel progressives. It's either them or us. Journalist Batya Ungar-Sargon joins us now to react. Batya, so great to have you on. You're the perfect guest for this topic. So Alan Dershowitz says in this op-ed that the policies, but maybe even more importantly, the attitudes in the progressive movement, some of the signage that we've seen, at the march yesterday that seemed anti-Semitic, that this may become unhealable politically.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Rachel. Thank you for your incredible coverage at this time. And I also just have to say thank you to everybody at Fox News, every producer, every writer. You guys have been incredible in a sea of anti-Semitic media and bigotry. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Yeah, speaking of signs, I was joking with a friend over Shabbat that the progressives need a new sign for their yard, right? Black Lives Matter. In this house, we trust the science. No human is illegal, and kill the Jews, right? I mean, that's what we're seeing. Professor Dershowitz is absolutely correct that the progressive movement is deeply, deeply anti-Semitic. Rashida Tlaib out there defending Hamas's chant from the river to the sea. Why anyone would pick that as the hill to die on, I don't know. But even President Obama out there with a clip yesterday with absolute moral equivalency between Hamas and Israel. Absolutely disgusting stuff. But what I have to say, Rachel, is where I disagree with Professor Dershowitz is this is not about Jews. This is about the American people, and the American people will never accept anti-Semitism. It is a slander on this great nation to think that any political party that countenances anti-Semitism has a shot here with any good-hearted Americans. And as just a tiny piece of proof, Rachel, they asked Americans, who do they think is responsible for the civilian casualties in Gaza? And guess what, Rachel? Just 13% of Americans said Israel is responsible. 63% said Hamas is responsible, and the rest just didn't know. And so I feel very sure that this country will not accept this progressive movement with its disgusting anti-Semitism and anti-Israel sentiment. And we're going to see the unity of the American people and the good-heartedness of the American people prevail.
I love that you're expanding this out beyond, Muslims versus Jews, that this is really an American issue, and we have a lot to say as Americans, and these poll numbers that you have put forward are very indicative of that. One of the questions I've always had, and I know you had this conversation with my husband on his show once, where he asked you, because he was a member of Congress and felt like so many Republican policies were very pro-Israel, and so many of his Democrat colleagues either weren't pro-Israel or, their policies were a little bit more wishy-washy in that way. And he said, why are so many Jewish Americans Democrats to begin with? And that might be something that some of our viewers might be wondering about.
Yeah, I mean, the number one predictor of whether an American is a progressive or a Democrat is whether they've gone to college. It's the class divide. Right. And a lot of American Jews go to college, and so they end up Democrats.
So do you, really fast, I've only a couple seconds left, do you think there are many liberal Democrat voting Jews who will, Jewish Americans who will vote Republican or abstain?
I think we owe a big debt of gratitude to President Biden for taking on the progressives and ignoring them. But I think President Trump's policy obviously was the right one in this case, and he's the direction for American Jews.
All right. Thank you, Batya. We'll be right back.